Yo, what's going on guys? Riot here. Today we're on MindQ, this amazing channel which lays out for us the descriptive evolution stage of MUTO Parasite, which is one of my favorite kaiju ever, like known to eliminate most of Godzilla's species. It's a hell of a beast and deserves recognition. So yeah, check out MindIQ, leave a like on the video down below, subscribe, and let's do it!
The MUTOs are the first kaiju since Monster X from Godzilla Final Wars that was seen in the movie screens, and the MUTOs are Godzilla's first completely original opponents that he—
Hang on a second, I hate to pause the video so early in it, but geez, crepes. Like, I've seen this stage on the thumbnail. This stage looks absolutely insane too. The middle one right there, the one with where it's sprouting wings, it looks gorgeous, but that little embryonic stage is the cutest little thing I've ever seen in my life, dude. I might need to get an embryo MUTO tattooed on my leg.
And the MUTOs are Godzilla's first completely original opponents that he faced since the Titanosaurus that appeared in Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Oh, we're learning!
Every other enemy of Godzilla has fought since then are either enemies he has fought before, or they're clones of him, or are derived from him, or based on an existing monster. So Legendary went on full creative with the MUTO designs, and they were a success as they instantly became fan favorite.
It's true, dude. MUTO is one of my favorite hands down. Plus it also gains like some basis off the Starship Troopers arachnids, which were the coolest things of the 90s by far. Well, they were up there with xenomorphs and dinosaurs and predators and stuff. They were a top 10 monster of the 90s, which is big.
But since Legendary went AWOL with their life cycle information, we MindQ will present a whole new picture on this missing part, conforming to the facts as best as we could, without alienating a creature that is already very mysterious. So what do we know about the MUTOs? We have seen 4 of them till now, including the one in the comics Godzilla Aftershock. So there is the male MUTO.
Wow, that is the most daintiest pose I've ever seen for a male MUTO I've ever seen in my entire life. That is the equivalent of crossing your legs like a lady.
The female MUTO, the MUTO Prime, and lastly Barbara, the Queen MUTO.
Barbara.
And all along the way we got to see the spores of these titans and the chrysalis that they were cocooned in, as well as miniature female MUTOs in many scenes of Godzilla 2014 in the desert.
Now we're talking, bro. Okay, this is inspiration right here. For my next Roblox thing I'm gonna sponsor, this is definitely the next 5 right here. A freaking parasitic stage for MUTO. Can you imagine this in Kaiju universe? If you guys don't play, then probably not, but this would be so sick!
As well as miniature female MUTOs in many scenes of Godzilla 2014 in the desert in San Francisco, as they were encased in soft eggs inside a female and were laid in a large hole. So the question arises, if they were laid as eggs, so then why did the other 2 come from spores?
It is
and
interesting.
why were all 4 of these MUTOs so very different from each other? So check this theory out. Stage 1, spores. They are the first stage of the MUTO life process, and like a wasp that lays its parasitoid eggs inside another animal, the MUTO Prime injects them inside the body of a member of Godzilla's species, which we now know has a name, that is Dagon, like the Cthulhu mythos deity. So these spores slowly and steadily drain the Titan's radioactive blood and grow in size. These 2 spores in fact had been dormant for thousands of years, and things suddenly changed in 1999 when they hatched, giving way to the second stage of their life cycle. Stage 2, the larva. The 2 spores gave rise to 2 hatchlings or larvae, and both of them have a very different sex. That is a male and a female, of course. The male larva digs its way out from the Philippines and could already swim, therefore heading towards the nearest radiation source.
See, that always did confuse me a little bit. Like, I've seen Godzilla 2014 so many times, but I've always been too embarrassed to ask questions about things that I feel like should be obvious, especially as a big MUTO fan. I can't just not know MUTO facts, but I did always wonder, I wish they would have just showed the larva stage, the parasitic stage in the movie for at least a second. It would have helped picture the whole thing so much more, crawling from the egg location to the ocean.
Which is the Janjira nuclear power plant in Japan. The female spore, however, was still dormant and was taken by the US military to the Yucca Mountain Nuclear Waste Depository in Nevada. So therefore, the reason why we didn't see the female larva was that when she hatched, she was already in the best nursery humans could provide for her.
We really should have seen a larva. It would have cleared up so much confusion.
So both of them cocooned themselves and started to mature to their adult stages. Stage 3, chrysalis. So both of them started to cocoon themselves, and all the while slowly feeding on the radiation that was present on the site. The chrysalis of the female wasn't seen in the movie, but the male's chrysalis was very clear. It was gigantic in size and was somehow cone-shaped, but the end was curved inwards, and the outer layer seems to look like an exoskeleton with spikes and ribs that had translucent segments which were lit up red from time to time due to excess energy and the male's bioluminescence.
Dude, this channel knows all the facts. There's so much confusion around this egg due to like, that's why this channel's so amazing, pointing all this stuff out. So many people still even believe that it was like a MUTO foot sticking partially out of the ground because instead of an egg, because it's kind of unclear how that would even grow out of that. There was so much that wasn't covered, but that's what makes them kaiju, large, mysterious creatures.
The chrysalis was hard and looked like a hellish gateway from which a monster would come out, which it did. Stage 4, the female and male adult stages. The MUTO's bodies were covered in an iridescent metallic grayish-black exoskeleton. They have orangey red eyes, narrowly shaped eyes. As a species, the MUTOs are sexually dimorphic as there are several notable differences between the males and females.
Good lord!
The male MUTO has 2 pairs of forelimbs and a smaller pair on her abdomen and 2 hind limbs, and is much bigger than the male MUTO, standing nearly twice the height of the male and being almost as tall as Godzilla himself. The male MUTO is similar in appearance except that he is much smaller with a more nimble body, and one of the 2 forelimbs had been modified into his wings, which are long, pointed and membranous, similar to those of a pterosaur. Both of them possess long, slender, somewhat deer-like hind limbs with flat, broad feet ending in 2 hoof-like toes.
I love MUTO so much.
And they went to San Francisco to mate and lay their eggs. Stage 5, the queen younglings. In the movie, we could see inside the MUTO nest that after the female lays her eggs, there is this weird sap-like substance coming out from the numerous egg sacs that might probably be the protective layer. Now, after the MUTO eggs are nested, they begin to form into various worm or spider-like creatures. Now, keep in mind that they are totally different from the spores laid by the MUTO prime. So there, wrapped around the nuclear missile, they would feed on the radiation and then they would reach a state of sexual maturity. And this is our theory.
This is where stuff starts to get slightly confusing, as I guess just various kinds of MUTO female leg, egg leg, is there's just various ways.
They would develop into a new queen MUTO that have the ability to insert spores into other titans.
There we go.
Stage 6, the queen MUTO. MUTO 3, referred to as the queen MUTO, looks slightly different in appearance to the female. Unlike her deceased skin, the queen MUTO's exoskeleton is more grey color instead of black. Her body is covered in scars from past battles, and she is also bigger in size than both the other 2, and with spiky protrusions on her back.
Jesus, she looks terrifying, bro. I know in this scene specifically she's no threat whatsoever, but still, look at that thing. MUTO is such a gangster.
It would seem that she is similar to the female, but on another level of the life cycle, which could lead up to her developing into the next MUTO prime. So here is another one of our theories. She could also possess the ability to inject spores into other titans like the prime. The official novelization describes her as a 6-legged monster, although she possesses 8 limbs in the movie.
Huh.
And Stage 7, the MUTO Prime.
Can you imagine if she just snuck up mid-battle and injected Godzilla, though? Would they just, I don't know, does the creature have to die necessarily for the eggs to, or does it all happen in the injection, kind of like a parasitic wasp, which was mentioned at the beginning of the video? That would be a horrible way to die, dude, dying from that.
This penultimate stage is nearly identical to the 2 females, but it has a hardened outer shell with razor-sharp back spires on it, large orange glowing forelimbs, as well as several smaller pairs of forelimbs on her chest, with more defined jaws along with larger mandibles. Unlike the other 2, Prime walks on 4 legs instead of 6 or 8, as it appears that some limbs were fused during the process of metamorphosis.
Ooh.
Which would mean that the Queen MUTO will have another stage or a metamorphosis or another cocoon stage that will lead to it hatching into a MUTO Prime.
Whoa, dude! Hey, I was about to pause it and talk about some stuff, but then this photo just made me shit my pants.
Than Dagon and Godzilla in 2014 himself.
Good God.
And she had the ability to infect other titans with her spores, which would lead up to the next generation of the life cycle. She could very well be a very ancient form of the Queen MUTO, and that has lived for millions of years. And just like how Godzilla could grow in size and have bigger dorsal plates, she too could slowly change in appearance over time.
I love these photos.
And so with that, we come to the end of this video about the life cycle of the MUTOs, and hope you guys liked it.
Dude, this video was awesome. I actually, so many things just I've always been embarrassed to ask, and this just explained all of it, because there was a few missing gaps in that movie, and I feel like this filled it. Once again, this is why MUTO is one of my favorites, though. Just this kind of crap right here. It's just terrifying. Kaiju that could produce in such quantities that MUTO could so easily just destroy the entire planet. It's just Godzilla's had his hands full. His species has had his hands full for so many millions of years because of these monsters. Absolutely gangster. Alright, thank you so much for this video. This was very informative. Make sure to check it out down below. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!